Thank you.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will start a business meeting after we know that we have a quorum and Kara is through. I'd like to introduce Kara Haggart. Kara is a project manager analyst with our Parks and Rec department. I think everybody online here knows who she is. She's tremendous team player, great partner with Palisades, helped us secure the grant that funded the picnic area and children's play area at Rasique. And she's currently heading up the updated master plan and securing um, Clackamas County's approval of that updated plan for Lusher Farms area. So, Kara, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And I don't think I'll need the full 10 minutes, but what I wanted to talk about tonight is one of the biggest issues that we've had with our land use process with Clackamas County, which is how people, or rather how cars actually access Lusher Farm and where they access it from. So as I'm sure most of you know, the driveway right now is the same driveway that has always been at Lusher Farm. It's the historic driveway off of Rosemont Road. And actually, if I can share my screen, I don't have slides, but I'd love to pull up a map if that'd be possible. Looks like I can.
Yeah.
Can everybody see that? Can you see the map up on the screen here? And I'll zoom in a little bit.
Yes, we can see
Yep.
that.
Perfect.
Wonderful. So this is the historic driveway that you use to get to Lusher Farm right now. And it has a number of problems. The speeds on Rosemont Road are so fast that it makes it dangerous for cars turning into and out of the driveway, especially when there's a lot of traffic without a turn lane there. The driveway crosses this very well-used trail, and there's poor visibility both for trail users and for cars that are turning in and out. There's actually not very good sight distance at all for vehicles, especially coming out of this driveway, looking both directions, just due to the topography in that area. And people who want to come in and use the community gardens or just go for a walk back here are actually driving through our main program area where we have our summer camps and classes, which is not ideal for us, making sure that, you know, when there's small children running around, that they're not, you know, being endangered by vehicles who are passing through this area just to get up to the parking spaces up here. And another part of this is that since the majority of the trips that are coming to Lusher Farm are coming from the city of Lake Oswego, since it's a city facility, we are routing traffic through this county roundabout and along this county roadway, Rosemont Road, to access this city facility. So we've known that we needed to fix this issue somehow for a while. It was something that our 2013 master plan talked about. Our friends group is really interested in kind of fixing this issue. The original plan for this was to do what the old 2013 adopted master plan suggested and create a new driveway off of Rosemont Road somewhere further to the east. But the more that we studied that, the more that we realized not only does it not solve all of our problems, but it also creates a lot of new problems. So there isn't really a good spot along Rosemont where there's good sight distance, turning distance. You know, the topography of this road is really challenging. There's a curve right here. The speeds are really fast. One spot that they identified was like right here, but then we're impacting a lot of these really significant trees along fur lanes. So we meet the sight distance, but then we're having impacts to the character of the property. Another spot that they had identified was all the way down here, but then you're having to carve a new driveway through these beautiful fields to give access to the property. And you're also routing people even further out into the county to bring them to this facility, which just seems a little bit backwards. So we went back to an idea that was tossed out at the beginning of our land use process, but it didn't get a lot of traction with our former leadership. And that is to use the existing Hazalia Field driveway to bring people into Lusher Farm from the north. So that's would essentially have people coming in through this intersection here, taking the driveway, driving through this way. And there's actually a gate down at the south end of this parking lot here. And we could route people along this existing road, which we would improve and stabilize with gravel. and bring them into Lusher Farm from the north. The benefits of this are that we are keeping city traffic in a city-controlled intersection here. Our traffic study showed that there is ample capacity within this intersection to accommodate the trips coming from Lusher Farm. We ran a queuing analysis to see if it would cause, backups into the parking lot, and found that it was not anticipated to do that. And then we're not impacting this roundabout down here, which is kind of a known problematic intersection in the city and the county, with the trips from this property, which is extremely beneficial to our land use application. There are also financial benefits of that. I think there's a lot of other ones, but when we were proposing the idea of putting a new driveway on Rosemont Road, it was up to $4 or $5 million project, in large part because we would have had to expand Rosemont Road to add a turn lane into the road and a turn shoulder for traffic coming in and out. And with this intersection here, we don't have to make any physical improvements or physical changes to the intersection to be able to use that. So we've gotten the county's preliminary blessing to move forward with this idea. Our friends group, Friends of Lusher Farm, is very supportive of this idea. When we talked with the Stafford Hamlet and Tualatin CPO a couple of weeks ago, they were very supportive of this idea, and Rick and Randy can attest to that for me. But what I'm hoping to get from you all tonight is first just to kind of hear your comments and questions, if you have any about this proposal, and then hopefully a thumbs up from the board, if this is something that you're open to. And we would like to take this forward in our land use application to the county, which we hope to submit
I'll tell you
very soon. So that's pretty much all I've got in the way of presentation. I can share more detailed.
You had a pre-app meeting, right? Didn't you have
Yes,
a
we
pre-app?
had a pre-app meeting with the county. I think it was just last Thursday on the 6th, and posed this to them, and they were supportive of the idea. They were aware that the Stafford Hamlet and the Stafford Tualatin CPO had some really significant concerns with our proposal to bring traffic in off of Rosemont Road, primarily because they feel, I think rightly so, that we're generating city traffic on a county road, and that's causing impacts to a road that then they're responsible for fixing. So I certainly understand that concern, and I think that this proposal really eliminates that. And it's an existing facility. In fact, the 2013 Lusher Area Master Plan shows a connection this way already. It primarily would have served that athletic field that was proposed to go here, but it is another access point that was contemplated by that plan anyway. So all that to say, they gave it a thumbs up and were intrigued by an idea that wouldn't cause a lot of consternation among their residents.
Meg?
Yeah, just had two questions. How will that affect the current people that are farming those fields?
So we wouldn't be taking anything away from them in terms of like space to farm, because there's an existing road here. It may need to be widened a small amount to allow two-way traffic, but we can do that kind of on the outskirts of the field. And we have run that by this proposal by our current farmer, Wild Geese Farm, and they were fine with it. We also offered to create for them more of an internal gravel road network that would support them being able to access these fields in here without having to share traffic with the public. And they actually preferred that. Right now, this is sort of just a mowed grass area and they can't use it in the winter. So as part of our proposal, we would say, okay, we're kind of commandeering this route that you use sometimes, but in return, we'll offer you some additional gravel routes that you can use year round.
And then what will happen to the current access along Rosemont?
So the historic driveway will exist still, but it will be closed to the public. So staff who work out of this farmhouse will use it. If we have, volunteer work party, they can potentially use it. Our contractors could use it. The CSA farmer could use it if they wanted to, but we'd be routing public park access essentially all through the Hazalia Field entrance. So we would be trying to limit the amount of vehicles coming through this way. Perfect. And we'd probably do that through like some sort of gate or bollard or something like that.
Randy? Randy
Kyra.
Yamada, did you have
Yes.
a question?
Yes, Kyra, can you zoom out a little bit?
Sure.
So I think I'm wondering, when you get into the green area where it says Lusher Farm, why do you go east and then come south? Why don't you just continue on south and then go east?
So I'm going to mark up which way we'd be going. Apologize for my bad drawings here.
Right.
Doop, doop, doop.
Well, what I'm
So-
asking is, why don't you just go when you enter the green? Why don't you just go straight?
Oh, because this is an area that the CSA uses, and we don't want to separate their fields with, like, public
Right.
park users and traffic like that.
Okay, thank you.
I can't see everyone in it who's attending, so if you have a question or want to make a comment, just raise the Zoom hand. Carrie?
Thanks for coming in and talking about this with us. And just curious about the process in kind of like a higher view of like where you are in the process and like any sort of. I know it's hard to be like, oh yeah, we only have 3 more weeks or three more months. It's like hard to really say, with a definite opinion on where you are. But like, are you 75% done with the county? Are
Oh,
you
I mean-
50% done? Are you 20% done? I don't have a good feel for this, so I was just curious, like where you are in the process.
That's okay. I'm going to preempt this by saying I was specifically a land use planning consultant for almost 7 years, and this is far and away the most complicated land use project I have ever worked on as far as current planning goes. So it's taken quite a while for us to get to this point, to untangle the knot that is Lusher Farm and its land use history. We are probably 98% done with our application narrative, which is like the first thing that we're submitting to Clackamas County, which will kick off the land use process. Well, I guess the pre-application conference kind of kicked it off, but with our first submittal of things that will go out for them to review, we just got our pre-app notes back from them today. They had 7 days to prepare those, which has some answers on a couple of last questions that we've had for them. And most of those questions are because we're trying to address this property in relation to the county's current development standards. And this is a farm that was built in 1901. So that doesn't always like mesh very well. I'll give an example. Under the county's current development code, we would have been required to install 109 bicycle parking spaces for Lusher Farm, which is an insane number of bicycle parking spaces. So we're working with the county to figure out, is there another way that we could address this need? Because that's too many bicycle parking spaces. A few is great, but that's too many. So 98% done with the application. I will say that we're in kind of another transition period right now where I'm handing this project off to another team member. I have full confidence that between our consultants, our project manager, Jeff Monroe, our director, who's very invested in getting this finished, and our staff who work out at Lusher, who are also very invested in getting this finished, they will be able to wrap up a first application pretty shortly, within the next couple of weeks to months. I mean, that is what I would expect. But again, I won't be here to manage that timeline or process any longer. Once that happens, the county will have a certain period of time, but I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how long, to review all of the information that we gave them and determine whether or not the application is complete, like whether we've submitted everything that they need to see. Even with small, simple projects, there's often at least one round of incompleteness. And it's just an unfortunately common part of land use. I would imagine that we'll have at least one or two, possibly more, for this project. And so each time that happens, The county sends us a letter of incompleteness that identifies what information they feel is missing from our package. My team will pull together that information, resubmit to the county, and that starts the clock again for their review and then determination of completeness. Once they have determined that the application is complete, they will review it. They will be accepting public comment on it at that point, I believe. And then they will produce a staff report that either recommends approval or denial of the application. And then they will send that to us and schedule a series of public hearings. I believe it will be potentially up to 4 public hearings, assuming none of them get continued. No, 5 public hearings, assuming none of them get continued for this process, because we will have couple of hearings with the Planning Commission, a couple of hearings with the Board of County Commissioners, and because this whole area here is in a historic landmark, there will be a hearing, I believe, with the Historic Review Committee. I forget exactly what they call it.
Thank you.
And then, I'm not done.
Oh, wait, you're not done. Okay, keep going.
And then as it relates to this project, oops, I'm still drawing on here. Then as it relates to this project, that would just be to approve anything that's here now, before anything would actually happen as far as like actually graveling this and making this the new route. We would then have to go to the city of Lake Oswego and do an application, because remember, this property here is within city limits. The farm is outside, but Azalea Field is inside city limits, and we would be modifying the traffic study that was submitted with the original conditional use permit for this property. So then we would go to the city and say, we have a modification proposed, and we would have to request approval from the city as a completely separate land use process. My understanding from reading the code and talking with someone at the planning counter a couple of weeks ago is that it would most likely be a minor modification, which is a staff decision, because we're not making any physical changes, and our traffic study shows that there's no significant impact to the current operations. But again, that we would have a pre-application conference before that's officially determined, and someone from P&A would be invited to that meeting.
Great. Thank you.
Bryce?
I think Ben had his hand up longer. Is Ben
I don't know
still
how to
there?
do the hand part, so I just got to go old school here with my actual hand. Kira, a couple questions. So we live right at the corner of that intersection, as you know, and I have like courtside seats to all the crashes and almost crashes and the backups in traffic there. Is that traffic study that you guys are working off of, was that done after you added the LORAC and Rasik and all the other things that draw a ton of traffic through that intersection, or is that pre those things?
The counts were done in 2024, but we added in the trips from the LORAC traffic study, like the trips that are generated by the LORAC into the traffic model when they did the study, and Rasik for that matter.
Yeah, I just, as someone who's studying this traffic every day because I live here, whenever there's anything going on out here, that parking lot at Azalea Field is full, regardless if it's a Azalea event or not. So I'd be curious to know if, as cars come and go from that narrow rounded parking lot, if you start pushing a bunch of cars for Lesher Farm through that same little pinch point, what kind of a hot mess that would be, because it's pretty bad even when they're just trying to leave from a soccer thing or any other event. Have you guys looked at going off of Burgess and getting people completely off of that side?
We have, but Burgess, I wonder if I can pull it up here. The way that Burgess is aligned, we would essentially have to eminent domain this person's property to be able to fit a 2-way driveway in here. So we actually explored that with the county at the same time, several years ago, at the same time that we looked at this option, and it was not a viable option. For that reason. Our traffic study did look at like kind of a queuing, what I called a queuing analysis of operations in this parking lot, and did not anticipate any major issues. I know that when there are games getting out specifically, there are definitely pinch points for people when there's like, the full parking lot full of cars trying to leave at the same time. But
Well, they fill that parking lot whether there's a game or not. If there's a football game
yeah,
at the high school, anything at the LORAC, if there's anything at that soccer field, like there's just not enough parking up here for
yeah.
all of the activities that are here. So whether or not it's a soccer game, it's if that parking lot is full if there's any event up here. So
And we would not be parking anybody in this lot for sure. We're saying no Lusher Farm parking here, but you come through just this way to get to this area here
yeah,
where there's existing parking. And then in the future, actually, one of the projects that's in this plan is actually to build a new parking lot over, it's about here, to accommodate Lusher that does not kind of take people through this area. That's what's in the master plan. So it may be that we even add additional parking for Lusher out
great,
here in the future.
great. Thanks for that feedback.
Bryce?
Has there been a cost study on what this proposal would cost the taxpayers to do? And also, I understand the safety concerns for entering off Rosemont, but has there been any major accidents for the existing entrance down there?
The existing entrance, I mean, I would have to look up the county's accident record. It's not in the city, so I don't have an answer to that. But that driveway is not it doesn't fly by the county's standards. It doesn't meet their current standards for public access driveways. So our understanding is that the county is going to kind of ask us to move it. If we didn't move it, even if we left it open, a condition of our land use approval would be that we would have to build turn lanes on Rosemont Road, which is a multi-million-dollar project to open up this roadway.
So the other option, coming from the north, is definitely the
This
most
option
efficient.
is probably a fifth or less of the cost, because
Love
the only physical changes we'd need to make is to gravel this existing dirt road and maybe take out this fence and widen this little area a small amount
Thank
to
you.
be able to fit two-way traffic through there.
Dave?
I was going to echo what the gentleman just before said about on the weekends, that lot is full, and it's not only full, it's full of little kids running back and forth between soccer fields and everything. I'm wondering if you've considered what happened. I mean, we were turning a parking lot into a through street, basically. And, I don't know what kind of studies you could do. You can look at queuing out on, Overlook and Stafford and all that, but like, you're turning a parking lot into a street or a driveway, and it seems like you might want to consider some kind of configuration that would run the road to Lusher at least along one side, so you avoid along the dog park fence almost. I know that's money and all that stuff, but I'm just concerned about it's already pretty busy out there, and I say it's a lot of times it's little kids running, going to the games on the field, and I know there's a lot of traffic to Lusher, but it's already on the weekends it's pretty packed.
That's kind of the same problem we're having down here right now, is that we have kids running back and forth between this building here where we have summer camps and this area where they do lunch and the community gardens, and going to look at the chickens over here. And we have people passing through here not realizing that they're about to cross like summer camp traffic.
You can speed the heck out of that area, whereas I'm not sure you can. The number of kids is far more over at the athletic field than it is, around the farm. And yeah, it's something to look at, because I don't know how you model that.
Well, and I think that's not something that we model necessarily. I don't think you can model, how many kids are running through there. But one thing we could explore as we're thinking about this project is how to put traffic calming in on both sides. Things like speed bumps and signs and things like that, particularly speed bumps at these crossings, and maybe give these some better striping so that where people are walking through, it's more obvious. Those are typically ways that we would address that.
Right. Something to think about.
I think
Yeah,
we
thank
need
you.
to, I think we need to wrap this up, Kara. Can
Okay.
you unshare for a second?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Are you looking to get P&A's okay concurrence with this meeting tonight?
Well, I think what I would like is kind of I mean, well, it depends on how you want to handle it. What I would like this to be included in our land use application to the county. Because in my opinion, in the opinion of our experts, it's the best proposal that we have. And I think what we would need to do after this is when we have our pre-application conference, which was probably at least a year, if not multiple years in the future, talk with you and work with you on what traffic calming or what other measures we could put in here to make everyone feel comfortable with this approach. But to me, just my honest opinion is that this is the best option that we have for our land use application for being able to keep Lusher Farm open to the public, because that's kind of what's at stake with this land use application. And for those who don't know the backstory, it's Lusher Farm is not located inside city limits. It's in the county's jurisdiction. The city has been operating out of compliance with the city or with the county for decades as a public park. It's not allowed in exclusive farm and forest zones, which is this area is zoned. And that's how it's been operated. And there's a lot of history and a lot of, miscommunications in the past and misconceptions and whatever. That could be a whole nother 2-hour meeting. But the bottom line is what we're trying to do with this land use application is bring Lusher into compliance so that we can continue allowing members of the public to access it and use it. And
Sorry, go ahead.
If our land use application is not successful, that is genuinely what's at stake. Not to be really dramatic about it, but the county is pursuing this as a code enforcement action. So
right.
It's important.
Well, I think, I mean, we're not in a position to approve it per se, but we can certainly say that we support it. And is there anyone on our board that would oppose this plan? No. Okay. So let me make a motion. Someone can second and we'll have a vote. I move that P&A board express support for Parks and Rec's revised application, specifically with the revised site entrance of Stafford and Overlook.
I second it.
I'll second it.
Is that sufficient, Kara? Is that helpful language?
I think that's very helpful. I didn't want to move forward with it without having the chance to talk with you all first and make sure that you were at least preliminary okay with it.
Okay, who seconded?
Nancy.
Nancy, thank you. Okay, all in favor, raise hands. Great, motion carries.
Is there anyone who didn't? Because I've got to document this.
Bryce has his camera off, so I'm not sure what he did.
I just would want more information on it. So I'm
Okay.
gonna
Abstain.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you. I'll put that in the notes.
Great. And Kara, bless you, sweetheart. We're gonna miss you. It was such a joy to work with you on the Receipt Park project, and we're gonna miss you. So
thank you. I'm gonna miss
wish
all
you
of
the
you.
very, very best. Wish you the
Thank
very,
you.
very best and all success. And you have ardent supporters here, no matter what. Anything we can do to help you next door there, let us know.
Thank you. Well, I'm only going one town away, so I hope I'll at least see you around sometime.
Right. John, do you have a question? John Thies?
Where'd you go?
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, we have a quorum now, a strong quorum, so we'll start. Thank you, everybody. And
I'm
thank
gonna
you
jump
so
off,
much, Kara.
Chris. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye, Kara.
Everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes for June and July. July was corrected by Elisa, and I made that correction. So do we have a second?
I second it,
All
Carrie.
in favor? All in favor, raise hand. Okay, motion carries. Minutes approved. Chair report, quick update. We are hosting a candidate forum. I think most people on here know we're doing this in conjunction with First Edition, Evergreen, Old Town, and McVeigh South Shore Neighborhood Associations. It's October 9th, 6:30. That's a Friday, and the venue is City Council Chambers. A lot has happened even today. Corey Buchanan has agreed to be our moderator, which is a great win. And he's the senior editor at LO Review. And also changes in the candidate pool. Trudy Corrigan has dropped off from the run, and we have two new folks on the campaign trail. One is Neil Tunmore. Neil is with us tonight. And the second is Heather Graves Ramsey. And I've reached out to her already to see if she'll be able to join us on the forum. So that's where we are. Very exciting. Moving ahead. I've asked each of the neighborhood associations to draft 5 or 6 questions, and then we will consolidate those down to 5 or 6 total questions for the candidates. The deadline for the questions is the 27th of this month. So I would ask board members here if you have questions that you would like us to raise with the candidates, please get them to me by the 27th. Area 13 is open. That's still that's our last open position. And so if anybody has contacts or knows someone in Area 13, that's the far southwest corner of the site, please let me know. Dave Westerdahl, did you attend the National Night Out party down in your neighborhood? Did that actually happen or was it canceled?
In our area, as far as I was aware, it was canceled.
Okay. Last question I have is I've reached out to Dareth Schmidt over in Old Town. She sold a banner ad on their newsletter. I think it was a local realtor in their neighborhood. And I thought, gee, it's an idea that Carrie and I have kind of bumped around for quite some time. Do we want to sell a banner ad or ads on our newsletter for added revenue for P&A? And it would likely be local businesses like the New Seasons Market or Bellagio's or Grimm's Fuel, somebody like that. We don't need to make a formal decision tonight, but any thoughts by board members on whether that's a good idea, not so good idea? Feedback.
This is Nancy. I'm not excited about that.
Okay.
I think it might deter people from reading the newsletter if there's visual clutter.
Okay. Good point. Anyone else?
If we get something drafted up, like what an example of that would be, would help me.
Okay.
But
Sure.
I don't think it's something that I'd like to throw that idea completely out, but if it's something gaudy and ugly, I wouldn't like it. But if it's something little and helps the association, awesome.
Okay.
It'd be nice.
Okay, let's move on.
It'd be nice to get some kind of a cost benefit analysis out of this.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry.
It'd be nice to get some sort of a cost benefit analysis out of this. What are we getting versus what are we losing, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we'd have to look at that. I'm not sure how you quantify a loss because it doesn't cost us anything. If it cost us subscribers, certainly that would be a
Right.
cost.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
don't
that
want to
would-
do that.
Yeah.
I think you have to
Yeah.
think about, because I work for the Oregon Department of Transportation, and they were looking at trying to do that, selling ad space on our newsletters for Amtrak Cascades, and it only looked like we'd make about $1,500 a year because the cost of administrative, like all the fees, and also trying to figure out which ads are appropriate for that medium. So I don't know. Maybe we should go backwards and say, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Like, are we do we need about $300 that we still don't have, or $200, and think about how we could solve the money problem. Because
Right.
once we start allowing ads on the newsletter, then how do we say no to somebody? Like, what are the criteria to
Yeah,
allow
good
something?
point.
But I mean, I don't want to say no. I'm just saying we just have to think about all those things.
No, those are all good questions. We don't have a money problem. It would just provide a little extra money to do more than we're currently doing. Okay, good. That's all good feedback. Let's move on. Carrie, Vice Chair report.
Sure. I just wanted to give the board an update that I was asked to be a part of the board and commission panel that conducted interviews for the city manager position. I sat in that seat as a budgetary committee member, but I also just naturally talked about neighborhood associations. And when it was time to do the open Q&A, it was very much, I said to everyone that I was a part of is, if you come to a neighborhood association meeting, you're going to hear about traffic safety, e-bikes. And I kind of went through a lot of the topics that land use, that we cover on a monthly basis. And it was good because I was the only one that sat on a neighborhood association. And I thought that was an important point of view and probably part of the process of why I was chosen. The process was a day long, 9 hours, and they're in the last steps of making their decision on. I feel like they have made an offer to one of the candidates. There was five, and they're waiting for all of the formal background checks and so on and so forth. And we should be hearing from the last time that I've heard from Megan at the city. We should be hearing about that in the next week and a half. I believe that Lynn Peterson, our current city manager pro tem, contract will be until the middle of September. So there could be some maybe extended if there needs to be more overlap of that position. But and the other thing that's on my radar right now is that as it relates to the city is that we actually as a budgetary committee did not meet this year, and I was working on the campaign for the fire station, so I was a little distracted, and I did see Sean Cross, the finance director, at this process, and I just gave him heads up. I'm going to actually engage on the budget. There's a section a lot of from past conversations of funded and unfunded projects and kind of where we are with that process. So 2-year budget, and where we are in that process. So that's on my radar. And so in the coming weeks, I'll be working on that. Hopefully in the next meeting, I'll have an update. As for the newsletter, we're like 77 more subscribers to hit our goal of 1,000. And that's pretty impressive considering we have 1,400 households in our neighborhood association. And we also, one thing that I just wanted to mention, and my last thing to mention, is that we are considering, and we can talk about this as a group, of using one of our postcards to promote the candidate forum. So the city allows us 2 postcards a year. We always use one for our general meeting in April. And we're proposing, I guess I could propose that we use our second one to promote the candidate forum. So any thoughts on that? Just for historical reasons, last year we used it to promote National Night Out.
Sure, why not?
It goes out to everyone in Palisades, and it doesn't cost us a penny.
I like the idea. It brings people together.
Yeah.
And engaged.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. It's very simple. The city dictates the design. There's no leeway. Black on a colored piece of paper. So, Jenny, you did one for the meeting. It's very simple. But okay, thank you. I'll move forward with that and make sure that goes out appropriately. That's all.
Committee reports. Jenny, LOSD.
I don't
Anything
know,
happening?
Carrie.
Anything happening over there?
Oh, okay. No. Nothing, not at all. I'm gonna probably, I don't know if I'll send out links or I just highlight for awareness. The Lake Oswego School District had a meeting this week and they really want the property across from high school. It's a church and they actually put in a bid, you probably know. It was actually sold to another church and they didn't get it. The Lake Oswego School District did not get it. Now they've voted that if they can't find a resolution with the current owners, they're going to kind of force them to give them the property through eminent domain. I always have a hard time with that word.
I know, me too.
So we don't have a point of view right now. We all just need to do research. A story, the LO Review wrote a story. You can go to the LO School District website. They have a really nice web page with a Q&A of what that means. But basically, the school district really feels this is a great property for them to like have a STEM lab, to expand parking for their students, and also do the transitional for students who are age 18 to 21 that need more support for job support searching and preparing for the future. So the students who are getting extra care and need that way. So they really feel that that's a perfect property for those needs.
Yeah.
So
The church is, the school district and the church are currently negotiating. That's hopefully their best course. So if it's okay, Jenny, I don't want to get into any more detail or discussion on that tonight because there's really nothing more that can be said until we know what the outcome of the negotiations are.
that sounds good. That's fine.
I
Okay,
just have
anything
one
else
thing
on?
yeah, I just have can we make sure that in the minutes we have all the appropriate links? Like Jenny, can you compile what
Absolutely.
you listed? Because that was a lot and I didn't take notes on all of the resources. So it'd be really helpful if you compiled links for our minutes. That was
Okay,
all I
yeah.
was going to say.
And
Good
then I would
point.
just recommend people talk to neighbors and just kind of get a feedback on what people are thinking and feeling in your area. That's it.
I think that's a good point, Carrie. It'd be good to have a link to LOSD to this because they have a whole information page on it, and then a link to the audio on the board meeting, and then a link to the church's website that has, the information on it as well.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I saw Meg just sent a link for OPB, so I have that one.
Yeah, good. Emergency prep, David.
Good evening, everyone. So just a couple things. One is that unfortunately with the National Night Out and the smoke issue, and much of those being canceled, we weren't able to promote the what's called Four From Your Door initiative. But that's an important emergency prep because, and I think we have some information that links on our website to the city's website. But imagine that in the time of an emergency, your best resource isn't an app or a city link, it's your neighbor two doors down. And that's kind of the idea behind the Four From Your Door. And what it is it's a door hanger that you'll see in various city locations such as Lorac, the library, City Hall. And so it's put together by actually PNA residents. So Elisa and I were both at a local Chamber of Commerce event this evening, and I think Lisa's still there, where we were promoting the Four From Your Door initiative that was put together by an actual PNA resident. And so it's been taken on and has full city support. And so we hope to take that as an opportunity to utilize our neighbors as a way to also be prepared for emergency and just to increase the local connections of your community. And so we feel like that's an important initiative and a wonderful thing. And the feedback I received this evening in the hour and a half or so that I was at the Chamber of Commerce event was overwhelmingly positive. So people were very excited about this and having it available. Realtors who stopped by were interested in having that for people moving into the area, and just a number of different people expressed interest. The other thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that September 24th, and I believe that's also on our website or in our newsletter or both, there's the Lake Oswego Emergency Preparedness Fair at City Hall. And I think the hours are 4 to 6, but maybe
Yes,
we can confirm that.
it
Okay.
is.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Carrie. So
Yep.
those are the main updates from emergency prep. Thank you.
Great.
September
You
20.
you and Elisa are doing a spectacular job
Oh,
for the city and for Palisades. Thank you.
Can you repeat the date of the event? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
sorry. I believe it's September 24 at City Hall from 4 to
Okay,
6.
That was
okay,
okay. Good.
okay, thanks.
I
Nancy,
like that you guys have done it later this year. Last year, it's like right when kids were going back to school, or the city has chosen to do it later. Whomever makes that decision, very good.
Sorry, I'm still
Nancy,
typing my notes. I don't really have anything to add because Kira
sure.
um, covered the topic that I normally would cover if she weren't our guest speaker. So because we're short on time, I will pass the baton.
Okay, thank you. Meg, anything on land use?
Just one thing, there was a pre-application meeting for um, Our Lady of the Lake to expand the cemetery on Stafford Road. And it was kind of an interesting meeting. There was a lot of concerns from the neighbors that border the cemetery, about water and about making sure that the trees were protected. So I don't know when they're going to start, but they're still in the pre-application meeting.
So what does that mean by expand? Not take on more land, but do more with
Correct.
the land they have. Can you be
No.
more specific?
So actually, this was something I did not realize. So the cemetery was basically, I'm trying to describe this, but there are three lots in the back half that were not owned by the church. Over the years, they finally bought the last two pieces, and they want to expand the cemetery all the way out to the golf course
So use it
for cemetery.
for cemetery. Okay, gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
And so since Lake Oswego does not have a zone for cemeteries, and it's currently R10, I believe, they have to have a conditional use permit to actually convert it into a cemetery.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Meg. I was remiss on the treasurer's report. Cyrus is not here, but our balance is whatever it was last month. I think it's $511, something like that. I don't think it's changed, and he's probably almost got enough um, expenses to submit his reimbursement request to the city. Um, so that's the treasurer's report. I'd like to open it up for public comment now. 2 minutes each, please. And we'll start with the candidates since you guys have joined us. And so we'll go Perrin, Patrick, and Neil. And Patrick, that's not fair.
Sorry, just caught
Okay.
me at bedtime. Sorry about that, folks.
No. Perrin, the floor is yours.
It's lovely to meet you
I
all.
think you're muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can
There
hear
we go.
you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hello. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Um, my name is Perrin Tiemann. I grew up here in Lake Oswego, went to Lake Ridge High School, and I currently sit as chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Board for the city. And so I'm running for city council to work on making our community safe, accessible, and welcoming for everyone. Really excited to hear about all of the things that you guys have been working on and grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Perrin. Patrick?
Hey friends. I was here again. I was here last month, so I'm here again. Thanks so much for having me. I super appreciate it. Also running for city council, currently chair of the library board. I'm gonna put my website and my Instagram in the chat right now if you'd like to look at it. Follow me on Instagram. At the very least, you'll get pictures of my super adorable son who you just saw a second ago. A couple of things I'd just like to say, my platform for Lake Oswego, I'll just go over it again, is, keep Lake Oswego safe, making sure that our first responders have the things that they need. I think I talked about this last time briefly, but my mother had a stroke 2 years ago right in my house, and the first responders were able to show up in under 2 minutes, and that's the reason that they saved her life. And so I'm very super passionate about that. Also, just making sure that our traffic laws are enforceable and that they're followed. I know last time I was here, we talked about a young boy who was hit on his bike. Again, I have a 4-year-old. Your safety concerns are very much my safety concerns, and it's something I think about all the time. Second part is just keep Lake Oswego green. You know, having a child obviously makes your vision and your view go much farther into the future. When I play under these big Doug firs that are in our yard, you know, I just think about what it's going to be like to save this for the next generation, not just my son, but one or two that comes after that. And so making sure that our communities are climate resilient, but also just making sure that our green canopy and all our natural park spaces are kept in really good condition, because I think that's something that makes our community very special. And the third thing is just keep Lake Oswego fiscally responsible. I'm a business owner. I own a nonprofit. I'm an executive director of one. I'm used to keeping my mind on the bottom line. And as somebody who's always looking at the bottom line, I just want to ensure you that if I am in charge or part of a team who's in charge of where your tax dollars are go, I'm going to make sure that every single bit of that is used the way it's supposed to be used. Again, thank you all so much for having me. I super appreciate it. My Instagram, you can message me on there, or on my website, there's a contact form. Always happy to see you. Always happy to talk to people. Thanks for having me again. You'll probably see me next month. Take care, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Neil.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little different from the other folks. My goal here is just to help. I've spent 26 years in Lake Oswego. I came over from the UK in 2000 on a 2-year assignment to work with Intel. And after doing that assignment for 9 months, I've been here now for 26 years. So I actually retired from Intel about 7 years ago. And I just want to help. And one of the reasons that I am running is because one of the things I did at Intel in the last 13 years I was there, I ran Intel's buildings, construction, safety, environmental health, the airline, the cafeterias, the restaurants, all this kind of fun stuff. So I was running a city for 13, 14 years, but it was spread across 100,000 employees and 50,000 contractors and 500 buildings across the world. So I kind of know service, I know strategic direction, and more importantly, I know construction. And I've built 3 or 4 wastewater treatment plants, 1 for Intel and 3 for a company that I left. Well, after I left Intel, I went and worked for. So I know construction, and I think I can help the city in making sure these massive projects that we're about to undertake. And to be honest, I'm not even understanding exactly yet what the cost is. I've heard 350, I've heard 500 million. That's a lot of money to go through. And I think I've got the skill set to help people in the city be able to manage that, come in under budget, under schedule. I've done it many times. The world is typically 90% over budget and 90% late. The projects that I ran at Intel for 13 years were 90% on budget or under budget and 90% on schedule. Got systems, got processes to help. So they may not want my help, but I've got the skill sets to be able to help and would love to help. And then the other thing is, I couldn't agree with Patrick anymore when he talked about, budget responsibility and taxpayer dollars and making sure that, we spend appropriately.
Okay. Thank you, Neil. Let's go and hear from the neighbors who joined us. Ben, the floor is yours. Welcome back.
Thank you. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up, I heard that the city was looking at putting a sidewalk on Overlook Drive on the south side from the retirement center to the corner. Well, to do that, they're going to take my driveway away. They're going to take the front entrance to my house away, and they're going to cut down 5 massive trees that provide the last bit of privacy for our property, and probably have to build a 4 or 5 foot retaining wall to keep my property from sliding into the street. So I think that they don't realize how heavy that lift is, and the city already took 10 feet of our property away when they built when they widened Overlook Drive several years ago. And so, as a 1881 historic landmark designation, I'm trying to raise a family, and um, I'm looking for support for the city to stop taking my property away and stop putting
Where
lights
did
in
you
my.
where
Sorry,
did you learn that the sidewalk is planned?
it's not planned. It's in their one of their studies where they're looking at projects that they want to do, and so they've talked about it at a few meetings, but our property is kind of like under assault from the city and Parks and Rec. They took all of our privacy down on Stafford, and now I have stadium lights that I have to put blackout shades on the whole east side of my house for. And so if they do that on Overlook, the way our property is built, I'll lose the access to my house, and my drive will be short enough that my cars would hang out onto the sidewalk. And so it's not really tenable to do that. So um, just kind of bringing that to your guys' attention, that's something that they're having discussion about, and we'll have to vigorously advocate for they not do that. There's already 3 crosswalks on Overlook Drive from the high school to Stafford Road, and there's no neighbors on that side of Overlook Drive. So anyway,
Okay,
Uh,
I envision. Oh, go ahead, Nancy.
I just had a question. I believe, Ben, what I heard, and please correct me if this isn't correct, if this isn't right, that the senior center residents want to be able to walk to Lorac. I believe that's the problem statement that
that
brought
I,
on the rest. Do you know it to be that problem or a different problem they're trying to solve for?
I'm not sure. That may be a contributing factor. I'm not sure if that's what drives it. That wouldn't surprise me. But there's also on Overlook. That's the only residence on Overlook Drive that's closer to Stafford. If you go to St. Clair, there's 3 established sidewalks to cross Overlook Drive. So it would only be serving. My guess is it's only serving the retirement community.
Uh-huh.
Why they can't put like a school crossing style crosswalk somewhere else on Overlook, right in front of them. But
Right.
they would tear my property apart to do it.
No, I get that part. I'm just trying to figure out what they're trying to do. Like what's the problem statement they're trying to solve for? Because the
Yeah.
residents could walk. There is a parking lot that goes out to Stafford from the Stafford, and
Yeah,
there's a sidewalk on Stafford. They could take the crosswalk there.
they could. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just
And
trying to understand what brought about a change. Like why is this a conversation we're having now?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's news to me.
It's
Well,
So
Ben, thanks for bringing it up. I anticipate a meeting with Will and Erica, Will Farley, the traffic engineer, uh, fairly soon, and I will put this on the list to discuss. But
great.
I can tell you that several months ago, we were approached by the Stafford about could we help them meet with the city and try and get a crosswalk near their main drive entrance, which is just west of you. And so we did meet. We set the meeting with Stafford folks and Will, and looked at that condition, and that was that was not a good location for a crosswalk because of the crown in the street and the sight lines. It would be unsafe. And at that time, Will and Stafford talked about, well, we've got the alternate route, which you just mentioned, and Nancy, you mentioned, through the parking lot to the east to Stafford, and then north on the Stafford sidewalk up to Larac. And that seemed to be a sufficient solution um, for the Stafford. And Will's final comments were that he had no future plans for messing with that sidewalk. So unless you know something different, um,
That's news to me, and that's fantastic if that's
okay. Well,
what they do.
I'm reporting to you what the situation was 3 or 4 months ago when we met for the Stafford. But when we meet with him again coming up, hopefully I'll have new information or be able to confirm that that's still the case.
Yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall or on that if it's possible to be included in that.
Right. Well, the core purpose of that meeting is going to be safety and signage and traffic calming, specifically regarding the young boy that was hit on Green Tree
Green
and
tree.
Carter Place, and at the accident that was there at your intersection. So, but I will make sure we ask about the sidewalk again. And so we need to keep this moving. Rick Cook.
Hey, yeah, just real quick, give you a quick update about Stafford Road. We are now seamless from Johnson Road all the way to the Stafford Road roundabout in both directions. It's not piecemeal together. It's all one piece all the way up. They just finished the 5, 6, 7, 8 driveways yesterday for the local people south of the Stafford roundabout. They got to let it sit maybe 2.5 weeks before they stripe. And then the next piece is they're doing lots of finishing touches around everything. And then I believe it's September 1st, they will open. Well, let me put it this way, from the Childs Roundabout and Childs Road to the Rosemont Stafford Roundabout, that will open up. So Childs Road's going to open up, but south of Childs Road will still be closed because they haven't finished that chunk from there to the river, basically. So that's pretty much, I think, all I know for now. And
And that second phase, is that due to open October 1st per their plan?
I believe so. And they're going to do a ribbon cutting, and it'll be interesting to see where they do a ribbon cutting after everything's open. And so, who
Good.
knows?
Okay, Aaron, do you want to add anything or chime in? Thanks for joining us. Nope. Okay. Well, Nancy, thank you for taking the minutes, and thank you everybody for joining us. Candidates, thank you very much. You're always welcome. We meet the second Thursday of the month, same time, same channel. We'll see you all soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, folks. Take care.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Chris?
Yeah.
One thing, I don't know who's handling our Palisades website these days.
Me.
Okay. The board members page needs to be updated.
Okay.
It still lists me as treasurer.
Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
So
thanks, John.
just point that out.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
I'm going to do it right now. Thank you.
I guess we better make sure Dave's on there too, since he's the newest board member.
I'm also the Emerald Ash Borer expert.
Ooh, that's going to be popular. Thanks for reminding me on Dave too. I'll go right now and do that before I forget.
Okay, thanks.
Chris,
what's that?
We'll talk about the Emerald Ash Borer next week, or next meeting.
Oh yeah, sorry, Dave. I'm sorry. We ran out of time.
It's okay. It's okay.
It was short notice anyway, so next week you'll have more time.
Next month, yeah.
Okay.
There isn't much to say, but it's it's interesting. Anyway, all right.
Thanks, you guys. Take care.